creatives, and we are meeting the creative. So today we are here with Mr. Doyle Song, who is one of DMV's most prolific designers. And so we came here to see what he really has going on. Okay. So before we really get started, I think that you're a really cool guy.
I appreciate that.
But I know that's kind of hard to tell sometimes behind the camera. So I have some questions for you. A little icebreaker.
Great.
All right. I'm going to name 3 things. Kind of like shoot, marry, kill, right?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Mambo sauce,
Uh-huh.
Old Bay,
Uh-huh.
jumbo slice.
Mango sauce.
Mambo sauce?
Yeah.
Final answer.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Which of these is completely overrated? You've lived here your whole life, right? You're a Silver Spring native. You've been around the DMV area. Is it Ben's Chili Bowl, the National Monument, or the Cherry Blossom Festival?
I'm just gonna have to say, I want to say Ben's, but I grew up around Ben's, so I'm not gonna say that. We're just gonna say the Cherry Blossom Festival. It gives me anxiety when I go down there.
Okay, the last one is, which one of these teams has the greater chance of winning a national title championship?
Okay.
The Redskins, DC United, or the Wizards?
Well, not the Wizards. I hate the Wizards. DC United maybe, because the Redskins suck. So we're just gonna go with DC United.
Really?
The Wizards ain't never won nothing ever. You know, never seen them win. I actually seen the Redskins win, so I have to like them by default. So I've never seen the Wizards win ever anything.
So you're going to beat DC United all the way?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because you know the Redskins stink lately too. But you know, I was alive 30 years ago.
Like I saw their
Yeah.
rise in the clouds. Like that was a very quick.
Good memories, you know, good memories of the '90s. Rap music, the Redskins being good, you know. So I think that.
So I don't think that many people maybe have ultimately followed your story that closely. You are a local, you lived here, you went to Springbrook, been around the world and back. Essentially, what has kept you here and held you in the community that's kind of like embraced you at the same time?
It's kind of been circumstance too. I don't want to see like it's always like it's been on purpose that I've been here and stayed here all the time. I actually wanted to leave a few times, but through circumstance I had to be here. And after a while, I just come to realize that me being here is actually much more useful than me going somewhere else and trying to become something that I couldn't do here. One thing we don't have as creatives in this area is like a lot of examples of people who stayed and stayed the course and tried to make something great out of here, not in the past 10 or 15 years. And I think like me, brands like All Homage, East, there's a lot of people that's just stepping out, and we're breaking the trend. We're not gonna sell out our culture to somebody else and make somebody else's culture great just so you can think we're great. We're gonna sell our own culture to our own people.
I think that's a really good point to make, that especially in a very rapidly changing city, there's gentrification that's prominent in a lot of places that we go, that you've even seen changed over the last few decades. How do we make sure that we are true to our culture while also embracing and getting other people who aren't necessarily from here, for them to understand our culture and where we're coming and why it's so dear to us?
I mean, I think for most part, the original culture of Washington, D.C. is being lost because of gentrification. But at the same time, I mean, there's new things that are coming. Change always comes. You need to change with the times.
Right.
You shouldn't try to buck change. It never works. But you also have to find a way to send your message to the new people too, and try to engage them as either fans or people who are following you. Because, wherever you go, if you sell clothes or if you're creative, I'm sure that you're not planning on just being appealing to one set of people. You're probably not going to really make any money or gain any sense just being like popular within some subset. You really need some kind of commercial success to be successful, so you probably want to chase it.
So now, I don't know if maybe other people haven't recognized that I know that you're not black.
Oh, yeah.
Mind-boggling, you know.
Apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But you are culturally diverse. So how has that really influenced you? Because you're Korean as well, correct?
Yeah, I'm an American-born Korean person. Well, one of my greatest skills is code switching, like human code switching. No matter what race you are, what kind of economic background you have, even if you don't speak English that well, I can somewhat communicate with you. I'm I think I'm a pretty great communicator. So overall, since I've always had to be in different rooms with different kind of people all the time, I've had to learn to be expressive in a way where it's appealing to all kinds of people. So I think being the only person who looks like you in the room sometimes is hard, but in the end, you're going to get noticed, so you might as well take advantage of it.
I don't see any other way.
Exactly,
I think that you have to kind of accept it and own it and be able to embrace it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of times that I've seen just like your brand flourish really because you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, but you haven't stopped and you haven't let them kind of like hold you back. I think that it can be inspiring for somebody else to kind of hear maybe like your successes and your failures at the same time, because this isn't like your first attempt at launching a successful brand that you kind of come to establish right now.
True.
So maybe you could share just a little bit about just like endurance and perseverance.
The game is all about endurance and perseverance and patience. Really, when you're a creative and you try to make a living solely on being a creative, like a lot of these creatives you see out here, they're kind of popular that you think are popping. A lot of them have real jobs. They're not doing creative stuff for a living. There's no knock to them. But like when you try to do it, you're gonna find out really fast that, building a following that spends money, supports you constantly is not easy. So at the end of the day, you're sitting there and you're wondering about how's it going to work, but really you're going to realize that the story is not really about you or the race. You feel like you're in a race all the time, all the other people, but the race isn't really like a race. It's like you on a treadmill, and you're only going to win if you don't quit. So most of the time people just quit. So if you don't have endurance, you don't have patience, and you don't want to have any nights crying and being sad about life because you're poor and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, you probably shouldn't be a creative.
Yeah, I think the other part to that is a lot of times I see people who kind of like judge their success off of the success that they feel like of others as well. Like, I'm supposed to be there. Like,
really, that's the Me Too kind of guy, or the should have been me kind of guy. The should have been me kind of guy is not anyone's friend. You shouldn't be friends with him. You should tell him, no, it shouldn't have been you.
I already know, like, you don't hear like Paris, London, New York, LA, DC. Like, they don't always kind of like mesh together in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I don't necessarily feel as though people give DC the credit for having their own fashion trends and being fashion makers at the same time and kind of solidifying a lot of brands that we have embraced over the years. I feel as though there's always something else or somebody else who's doing kind of like streetwear better on a more global scale. But personally, I feel as though, in my own opinion, nowhere else do I see people wearing New Balances that often. I don't really know when I saw people started wearing Trillium jeans unless they were like an up against the wall. The same thing with Ed Hardy and a lot of things. So I think there's a misconception that a lot of like the stories that we used to grow up on introduced a lot of the ways that we kind of come to accept as staples in our closet.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, the problem is DC at one point was considered much more, I want to say, better dressed place.
No.
But the thing is the way a company conceives a region is by how the region spends money in that area. Unfortunately, we all decked out in nice clothes, but we not really trying to pay no money for anything nice. So really, like, it's no knock to like the resale community or the vintage community, but people like retailers, blogs, worldwide things, they're covering things. They're not going to look at you and be like, oh, you guys are doing things at the cusp of fashion, when a lot of you all are just being vigilantes. Like, you're not really even trying to have a brand, you're not really doing anything, and it's just like everybody's just doing the same thing. And unfortunately, it's created this thing, because DC is a creative place. But unfortunately, a lot of times, whether it be financial circumstances, no one can really get behind an engine to really drive someone forward.
Right.
And until that happens, everybody's going to be feeling like it's a little subpar, especially on the scope. Excuse me. But being from here is a little different from viewing DC from the outside. I think when people view DC from the outside, who are kind of knowledgeable about the things that are going on here, they find DC to be a very exciting place. But at the same time, we just, I think socially we're just a little behind. With the closing of Up Against the Wall, like you mentioned, I worked there for like almost 10 years, and like, it's, it left a gaping hole in the fashion community. Like, those things that you talked about, those were started by Up Against the Wall in the DMV. There's no place for that. Not one place can you say, oh, you could go there and I got this for you.
Like,
you know,
go like this.
no, I can't do that for you. But you know, it's just, once you take that factor out of the conversation, and then you go to realize that, you know, economically we're just not in the same position that we were before, like 20 years ago, then you just realize that the fashion has gone down in DC. The overall fashion in DC, like, we're young, hip minority people, but I don't think we really think about like the large level of who makes up the DMV. It's majority people who are sitting at home from the lockdown or the shutdown right now. And I don't know if you've ever been to one of these like places and like gone to their cafeteria and seen what kind of fashion is going on here on the nation's capital. Special is the word you want.
Yeah.
Special. Very like nation's capital special. The only reason they're wearing clothes is to cover their body. That is the only reason, because of original sin. No other reason. Because clearly they didn't look in a mirror this morning. Or any morning for that matter.
I just want you to know you said that. No.
Okay, cool. Dress better and I won't ever have to say anything.
I see him on the train with we got the shoes, the sneakers on.
It's cool. I'm fine with that. You gotta be comfortable. It's fine. As long as you got something to swap out in your bag. If you're a dude, you shouldn't be wearing like big clunky rubber soled dress shoes with the square toe. Like, those should go in the trash. That's all I have to say about that. I apologize. I had to say that while I was on camera so we could record that moment.
Oh, you know, make sure.
Yes. All you white collar guys, no square toe with the rubber sole. Leave that. I don't know when that was popular, to be honest.
I'm trying to tell you, you see it every day.
That's why we're not considered a place of fashion.
Right there. Listen, okay, so I think it's important that creatives do connect and are supportive of each other. I think that even the other day, seeing Malik in here when you were having the pop-up, I think that was such a beautiful thing to show that creatives do support each other here in the city. I think that, please correct me if I'm wrong, but Enemies Forever and Eat are probably some of the only like DMV clothing brands that I really can see in like DTLR, in places where they're kind of like.
I mean, we're the only two that have been in DTLR Shoe City. Out of the new crop, or even the older crop, we're the only two that have gone into a multi-store deal with a large company. I don't really think, and it's no knock on any other brand. I just don't think the people are doing enough, like whatever they need to do to take their brand to the next level. Most of these people just do the brand as a part-time job, and so they can post it on Instagram, and not like really like, I'm trying to make a living.
So you do know that it takes more than that. You just can't post the clothes on Instagram and hope for the best. It takes more work and dedication to get yourself to the next level.
Don't worry, they know that. Not really, but you know.
What would you tell yourself today to prepare yourself for where you want to see yourself go in the next 5 years?
Don't be a bitch.
I like that.
Like, no, just straight up. Like, this life is hard. It's not like some easy life where you know, I'm selling services like I'm a plumber and your toilet broke, so you have to call me. At no point in streetwear does the customer have to call you. It's like in the choices business. So what you gotta do is you gotta be able to realize that people can not choose you. And sometimes you are sitting at home broke and sad and wondering where to go. And you just gotta sit there and tell yourself, don't be a bitch. And you gotta tell yourself, just like earlier, you gotta ride it out. You gotta fight the good fight. Because if you quit at the end, I don't really know what I'd do. Like, if I was to be a bitch and just quit it out, it would ruin everything. I don't think I could continue on with my journey in life, to be honest with you. Only because I think this is what I'm supposed to do. If I was to quit, it would just be like, I guess I could die now.
Take it down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is just don't be a bitch. Like, have the gall to go all the way to the end. You know, if you do that, I don't know anybody who's lost who did that ever. You know, but nowadays it's like, I'm pretty sure at least every 4 posts on your social media you want to say that to somebody. Like, why don't you
don't be a bitch.
yeah, why don't you like get up off the ground and like if some males you want to tell them like, why don't you unflap your labia and let your penis free, you know? But you know, that's TMI. Sorry, I apologize. You know.
So maybe my personal question is, did you find that it was difficult to express like your dream to your parents?
No. See, fortunately and unfortunately, I've had a long life where I had some unfortunate incidents and then I ended up incarcerated. So after I came home and I couldn't find a job and I told my parents I wanted to start my own business, they were actually really supportive and happy, and they probably was like, "Oh, you're not selling dope? Good for you." Like, yeah, you ain't never did nothing good. This is your shot. I was like, yeah, fuck with me. Exactly. Yeah, you know, so it's cool. Like before, they would probably told me no, but to be honest, I think my parents, they're old. Like I'm old, they're old, and I think they learned the lesson. Like telling somebody to not follow their dreams is not the answer. You should at least let them follow their dreams and then let them fail, and then they'll find out that's not their dreams.
And don't be a bitch.
Exactly.
When you do fail, don't be a bitch.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go. I think that you are such an impressive creative, and that if you haven't been down to Ward 9 or even checked out any Enemies Forever merch, please come down. It's right here in your local community. You can find it. It's online. You can check it out on the Instagram. Don't be a stranger. Please, don't. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, you can find us on www.enemiesforever.com. Also, thank you to Ward 9, home of Enemies Forever, and all our other collaborators, like Collecting Creatives and everybody coming out and doing the interview today.